Welcome to another book review. I want to review very briefly this book that I just concluded, 10 Myths About Calvinism, Recovering the Breadth of the Reformed Tradition. It's the first book I've read by Kenneth Stewart, who is a professor at Covenant College in Lookout Mountain. The book is, again, an overview of the 10 myths about Calvinism, things that over the years have been representations of the Reformed faith, of what is commonly known as Calvinism. And the author goes over a host of issues that some assume are unanimous within the Reformed tradition, but are far from it. For example, we typically think that there's only one view of predestination within the Reformed faith over the last 500 years, but there are actually various views. Some can be termed as somewhat extreme, others moderate, others very precise definitions of predestination would not find a welcoming home in our day, but that were welcome throughout the Reformed tradition. And so Professor Stewart's central theme here is that the Reformed faith is incredibly diverse, so that when one speaks of Reformed or Calvinistic persuasion, we're not saying something that is definitively written or definitively listed. It's not just a set of two or three things about predestination. It's a set of various things about predestination, how certain biblical texts have been explained throughout Reformed history, would really lead anybody who thinks they have a monopoly in the Reformed faith to feel very uncomfortable, very ignorant. The Reformed faith is very diverse, as Professor Stewart illustrates. It has diversity over the issue of predestination, ecclesiology, sacraments, eschatology, our view of revivals, the role of art, the role of women in the church, the role of missions, and a host of other things that he elaborates throughout the book. The reason I think this book is so important is because it shows that what is known as Calvinism is a lot more complex than some would make it out to be. It actually has a very elaborate understanding of the Reformed faith. It's a faith that is diverse, filled with complexities, because it is developed by complex figures who understood the Bible in differing ways. And so Professor Stewart makes those who think they have a monopoly on Calvinism feel fairly ignorant, and those who don't understand Calvinism's profound diversity, it would make these folks hunger for more knowledge of what the broad Reformed tradition has taught. And so the call of the book, if I would say the call of this text, is to stay in the mainstream. If you're a Calvinist, if you're in the Reformed faith, the broad Reformed faith, stay in the mainstream. Gain from various eras of the Reformed tradition and continually seek to learn more about it. Desire that new movements would come along and would give Calvinism a renewed vigor to pursue the glory of God and the good of the world. And so the hope is that as we read through this book here, in all its pages, is that we would gain a more comprehensive view of the Reformed faith and its diversity, but that from it we would say, wow, I can really learn from a broad array of positions, that I don't have to situate myself in a very narrow view of the Reformed faith, but I can gain from the diverse view of it and appreciate those who take different positions within the Reformed tradition, and even perhaps learn from those outside of Reformed tradition and bring those insights within the beautiful history that we have and develop a more robust view of the Reformed faith. A Reformed faith that has always been about the glory of God and the good of the world. Thank you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you'll pick up a copy of the 10 Myths About Calvinism written by Professor Kenneth Stewart.